kali my bro, ibu kama taka juicy juni.
Kenya, twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
Amedu.
Nine o'clock on the nose, and you bang on time for TV47 Prime. My name is Debarl. Inea. Welcome to the broadcast. Let's get you checking the stories that dominated the day. And joining me on the sign language desk is Catherine Simaloy. We start off on a sad note where a growing crisis is unfolding on Kenya's roads, with a staggering 2,150 lives lost in just the first 6 months of the year. According to data released by the Kenya Red Cross, the Northern Corridor remains the country's most hazardous road network. Modoni Brenda with more on how Kenya's roads are becoming increasingly deadly and the factors behind the rising road carnage.
On Kenya's roads, every journey now comes with the need for greater caution as road crashes continue to claim lives. A study done by the Kenya Red Cross indicates that 2,150 lives have been lost to road crashes in the first 6 months of the year. That translates to an average 12 lives lost every single day. In the first 13 days of August alone, 40 people have died, while 180 others sustained serious injuries in 33 road crashes reported across the country. The data also shows that counties along the Northern Corridor have recorded high numbers of road crashes. These include the counties of Nakuru, Nairobi, Kiambu, and Makueni. The Kenya Red Cross has identified speeding, dangerous overtaking, and driver fatigue among the factors contributing to road crashes. Against this backdrop, the Kenya Red Cross is now calling for a review of Section 42 of the Traffic Act, which advocates proposing lower speed limits in high-risk areas, including zones around schools and hospitals. Stakeholders are also pushing for the safe system approach, which recognizes that errors on the road are inevitable, but that deaths and serious injuries can be prevented through safer roads, safer speeds, safer vehicles, and responsible road use. With thousands of lives already lost, the question is no longer whether Kenya has a road safety problem, but how many lives will be lost before stronger measures are put in place. Modoni Brenda for TV47.
Religious leaders are now calling on the government and political figures to immediately stop using hate speech, warning that inflammatory rhetoric threatens national peace as political activity heats up. The leaders have also demanded the immediate resignation of Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja over the police service's failure to curb crime and protect citizens.
With less than 1 year to the general elections, religious leaders are now calling on politicians to tone down aggressive rhetoric and prioritize peaceful campaigning. Their demands come as the National Cohesion and Integration Commission issues a stern warning promising tough action against any leader fueling ethnic division or violence. The clergy sharply criticized the police service for failing to contain Goonism in the country, disrupting political rallies and peaceful demonstrations, leading to loss of life and destruction of property. As the country prepares for the upcoming 2027 general elections, Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja is facing intense pressure from the leaders to step down.
It is discouraging to see the police engage in barbaric acts by disrupting campaigns and involving themselves in partisan politics. We also note that the police under the current IG are unable to end goons' menace in this country. And therefore, we ask the IG to resign and pave way to a competent Kenyan to take over from him so that he can serve Kenyans.
The religious leaders stressed that independent institutions must step up and hold both politicians and security officers accountable whenever they incite or oversee violence.
NCIC inalipwa malipo kulingana na kodi zetu, kuangalia mbinu ambazo zitakazokuja kulichafua taifa letu, lakini hatujaona hatua thabiti wanayoitukua kukabiliana na hili.
The faith leaders also condemned the recent violence at a political rally in Homa Bay County where journalists were attacked and injured. They characterized the incident as deliberate attempt to intimidate the press.
Media has a duty to inform Kenyans, and the violence meted on them in Homa Bay were clearly targeted at cover-up. We urge Kenyans to support media in their endeavor to inform on what is happening around the country.
DStv party leader Rigathi Gachagua avoided to hit at Kiharu MP Ndini Nyoro during his tour of Murang'a County, a day after Nyoro made rallies in his hometown. Gachagua stepped up his political activities in Murang'a, endorsing Governor Irungu Kang'ata for a second term in the 2027 elections. And as Mike Agwongo now reports, Gachagua maintained that political powers is ultimately determined by numbers, saying the region's voting strength cannot be ignored.
Gachagua's visit to Murang'a County comes as political parties intensify their grassroots mobilization ahead of the 2027 general election. The DCP leader endorsed Governor Irungu Kang'ata for re-election, throwing the party's support behind his bid to retain the county's top seat.
Tunataka kuambia Kasongo heshimu sheria ya Kenya. Waacha mambo ya wahuni, waacha mambo ya wakora, na waacha kuleta fujo Kenya. Ukifikiria tunaweza airisha uchaguzi mkuu.
Gachagua appeared to steer clear of directly attacking Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndende Nyoro during his Murang'a tour, despite the legislature's decision to join the opposition this week. Rather than engaging Nyoro in a direct political confrontation, Gachagua focused his remarks on broader Mount Kenya political interest and the DCP plans to consolidate its support in the region ahead of the 2027 general election. Gachagua said Mount Kenya's numerical strength remains a significant factor in determining political power, insisting that no one can change or ignore the region's voting numbers.
Wale ambaye wameenda kutuuza kwa Kasongo, wale ambaye wameweka tumbo yao mbele wakiongozwa na huyu wa Mabojo na wasaliti wa jamii yetu, lazima tukipeleka Kasongo nyumbani waende pamoja.
The rally brought together DCP allies, including area Senator Joe Nyoto, Nyandarua Senator John Medho, Governor Irungu Kang'ata, and other party affiliates, as the party seeks to expand its support base across the region.
Umepanga kuraia Mount Kenya, ati haitapigiwa mtu mmoja. Unataka uigawe, kuna kidogo hapa, kuna kidogo hapa. Nataka nikupatia bad news nikiwa hapa Kiharu, nikiwa hapa Murang'a. Sisi watu wa Mount Kenya tumeungana pamoja na tutasimama pamoja, na kuna kufukuza wewe, tutapika kwa kikapu moja.
Kwa hiyo sisi tunataka kumwambia William Ruto, mipango yako ya kugawanya mlima tunaijua na hatutakubali kutenganishwa. Sisi ni ndugu moja, sisi wa Kikuyu, wa Meru, wa Embu, wa Tharaka na Wakamba. Tuhamwe.
NCIC tumeona mumeanza kuita kiongozi wetu Rigathi Gachagua. Tunawaambia tutaona barua ya Duale.
Kesho tunajua ya kwamba Rigiji anaenda pale Murwadiki. Anataka aongee na jamii ya Wakalenjin. Manake hata wao wamesema wamefinywa na Kasongo, ya kwamba hata kwao SHA haifanyi kazi. kazi.
Gachagua also declared Murang'a the DCP's regional headquarters, signaling the party's intention to strengthen its grassroots structures as the 2027 political contest takes shape.
Na watu yangu, please don't be distracted. Be focused. Situanza safari ya DCP. Tukae tuangalie mbele.
The DCP leaders Murang'a's tour also took him to several local centers, including Kankari and Kantara markets, following the opening of the party's county office in Murang'a town. The engagements are part of the DCP party's wider efforts to build its presence and strengthen support across the Mount Kenya region. Rigathi Gachagua's tour of Murang'a County comes at a time when each of the opposition leader is also trying to consolidate their own home bases before agreeing on one single candidate to tackle President William.
And People's Party of Kenya leader Ndindi Nyoro has denied claims that he is a political project by the government. Nyoro says his party, which was unveiled earlier this week, is already gaining support and popularity across Mount Kenya region and other parts of the country, while also insisting that the party is not a government project. Speaking at the party's headquarters in Nairobi after receiving 30 delegates from various political parties, Nyoro intensified his criticism of President William Ruto's administration while accusing the people of working with groups of youths allegedly used to disrupt opposition leaders. The People's Party leader further threw his weight behind calls for international intervention, supporting calls for the International Criminal Court to take action against President William Ruto.
Nia yetu vile tumeendelea tukisema, ya kwanza ni kubadilisha Kenya, na kubadilisha Kenya kwa njia mingi na haswa kiuchumi. Na kwa hiyo kufanyika, lazima serikali ya William Ruto iondokee. Na tunaiondoa katika kura na a very huge margin next year in August. Na sisi tunafanya kazi na watu wote ambao tuko upinzani na tushikane mkono. And we are very hopeful that we will have one presidential candidate as the opposition, so that we go to these elections and win by a very huge margin in the first round.
Tonight, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has intensified his tours of the Mount Kenya region in a bid to consolidate support ahead of next year's presidential election. Gachagua, who toured Murang'a on Thursday after his home turf Nyeri, is however facing rebellion within the mountain, particularly due to the mushrooming of new political parties and existing parties in the region that feel threatened by the perceived dominance of his DCP party. This as President William Ruto continues to pull strings behind the scenes to ensure the region does not unite under Gachagua. Apollo Kamau has more.
The return of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to Murang'a County, where he opened a DCP party office, a day after Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro and his PPK party held their maiden Meet the People tour, has exposed Gachagua's ambitious push to lock down the Mount Kenya region amid a looming threat to his dominance as the region's foremost leader from President William Ruto.
Huyu Kasongo anapanga ate kugawanya mulima, ate mulima ikuwe west and east. Kasongo anakuambia hiyo maneno hayawezekani. Kuliko tugawanya mulima, sisi tunapanua mulima. Tulikuwa na Mount Kenya West na Mount Kenya East ni kitu kimoja. Sasa tumefaidika, tumeongeza Ukambani kama Mount Kenya South. Sasa mulima imekuwa kubwa.
If you try running for office and you are not with this party of Gachagua, you are wasting it. Complete. You will be whitewashed. So it's a mammoth. It's not a small thing. It's a giant of a party.
The mushrooming of new political parties in Mount Kenya, among them Nyoro's PPK party, is seen as a threat to Gachagua's ambition to conquer the mountain and teach President William Ruto a lesson for sponsoring his impeachment in October 2024, an experience Gachagua has since turned into a Mount Kenya mobilization tool.
Kama wewe uko katika hurubaru, uko katika hii serikali sasa, na wewe kazi yako imekuwa ni ya kutukana viongozi,
Kama wewe umetukana mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, People's Party haina nafasi yako. Enda msikizane na yeye.
Nyoro's efforts to position himself as an opposition leader have not helped much, with Gachagua accusing him of being a Ruto project out to divide opposition votes.
Gachagua's desire to be recognized as the leader of the mountain has been hitting a lot of hard rocks along the way. It's not accepted, but he's got a little mileage, better than he used to have. Now, if Dede is seen to be part of that project, trying to add unfairness to another unfairness, it will not be very good for him.
Since winning the Ol Kalou by-election last month, Gachagua and his troops have traversed the Mount Kenya region from Nakuru to Meru, declaring the end of President William Ruto's UDA party and its allies, whom Gachagua accuses of betraying the region while drawing opposition from the Ruto camp, which has branded him a political bully.
So my friend, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to face electorate in Mount Kenya region, the people of Laikipia, where I will be seeking to become governor of Laikipia County, and if the ticket to heaven will be issued by Rigathi Gachagua, I will go to hell.
Gachagua has also not spared Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, whom he sees as a threat, particularly in Mount Kenya East, where Kindiki is seeking to consolidate Embu, Meru, and Tharaka Nithi counties under President William Ruto.
Sasa nauliza Kasongo, hata kama ni kugawa mlima, unatuma hii Soprano agawe mlima, si utume mtu yuko na sauti? Ni fire si fire, ni noma si noma. Mimi nimeambiwa na mkubwa wangu rais tugawanye mlima.
Umezunguka hapa na vijana wakizunguka gari yako hapo wakisema one term. I dare you to continue with that nonsense. I will deal with you. My brother, I promise you I will deal with you. I cannot allow you to mislead our community. You had your time. You misuse your time.
Within the opposition camp in the Mount Kenya region, PNU and DP recently protested Gachagua's pronouncement that small parties should fold and join DCP, a position Gachagua later dismissed. Apul Kamau, TV47.
National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah has dismissed PLP leader Martha Karua, that is Martha Karua's call for the International Criminal Court to investigate alleged political violence in Kenya. Speaking in Kikuyu Town during the launch of the Kiambu County Digital Center of Excellence, Ichung'wah accused some opposition leaders of planning violence before blaming the government for the unrest. He also insisted that Kenya's multi-party systems gives politicians the freedom to join or form parties of their own. Former Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria insisted on the need of Mount Kenya leaders uniting ahead of the 2027 polls. That story we will give you much later in the course of the program. But right now, we want just to also prime you on the new survey, which is by Swiss Poll International, which has placed William Ruto in the lead at 31% in the presidential race. Kalonzo Musyoka follows at 22%, while also emerging as the most preferred candidate with the opposition camp. This report was produced by Maluse Meshek.
A new survey by Swiss Poll International has shown a new political trend in the country ahead of the 2027 general election. In the presidential race, President William Ruto leads with 31%, followed by Kalonzo Musyoka with 22%. Undecided voters account for 16%, while Edwin Sifuna garners 13%, Fred Matiang'i 11%, and Rigathi Gachagua 6%. Among the most preferred opposition candidates, Kalonzo leads with 41%, followed by Sifuna at 26%, Matiang'i at 16%, and Gachagua at 9%. This survey also shows that the most popular opposition ticket would have Kalonzo as a president and Sifuna as his deputy, with Matiang'i preferred as chief cabinet secretary. The combination garnered 44% support. In terms of party popularity, ODM leads with 23%, followed by UDA at 20% and DCP Party at 15%. Wiper garners 9%, while Jubilee records 7%.
Our respondents included a sample size of 4,037 respondents from different parts of the country. The female population included 51.6%, while the male population included 48.4%. Our medium of data collection was telephonic and computer-assisted medium.
The survey was conducted between July 24th and August 6th, 2026, involving 4,037 respondents. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Let's turn the crack now to matters health, where discussion on the flagship government program to modernize medical equipment in a public hospital, NESP, took center stage during the just concluded Kenya Health Summit 2026, after concerns were raised on the servicing of the equipment following referrals to private facilities. Elizabeth Atieno has more.
During the presidential town hall on Wednesday, Crispinas Wafula, a Nairobi resident, raised concerns after his relative was referred to a private facility for an X-ray. This despite the ongoing National Equipment Service Program NESP that seeks to decentralize care and cut referral expenses.
Lakini Mr. President jana ulisema kuna mashini ya MRI nini. Nilienda Mbakati na mgonjwa, mimi ni mtu wa Uber. Kufika huko X-rays walinituma Luton Hospital.
This is feedback for Mercy and for Anthony and the PS and Minister for us to go and figure it out and work with the counties to make sure we get rid of that mischief.
The National Equipment Service Program NESP is a 7-year multi-billion initiative launched by President William Ruto on 7th August 2025.
We have placed so far equipment worth 9.8 billion shillings in 239 health facilities in 44 counties of the Republic of Kenya.
The program seeks to upgrade public hospitals with modern diagnostic and treatment tools such as CT scanners, dialysis units, ultrasound, and X-ray systems using a sustainable fee-for-service model, which means neither national nor county governments will buy the medical equipment.
We are only having MRI in 2 facilities, which we now intend in the next 1 month to upscale to about 20.
Under the NESP project, private vendors install and service the equipment, and the Social Health Authority SHA pays for services rendered based on actual usage.
It is up to the owners of the equipment to make sure the equipment is working, because if it's not working, they will not be paid. They are paid for every service that they deliver.
However, the NESP program has come under scrutiny after the Auditor General, Nancy Katungu, questioned its legality and revenue sharing mechanism, noting that equipment suppliers could receive up to 255% of revenues for some SHA-funded services.
We should, therefore, with the assistance of DHA, be able to work with citizens if they go to a facility and in the facility they are told either this equipment is not there, go to the next. They should be able to verify.
NESP replaces the expired Medical Equipment Services MES leasing model, with the main goal being to eliminate heavy upfront infrastructure cost for county governments.
Out of the 44 counties 39 counties in at least have one CT scan.
We now have MRIs, ultrasounds in the most peripheral of places, Your Excellency.
The Managed Equipment Services MES project was launched in 2015 as a national public-private partnership to lease, install and maintain specialized medical equipment across 98 public hospitals in all 47 counties. The project then faced public debate and controversy over rising county financial commitments and fixed lease payments regardless of local utilization rates, and was therefore scrapped off in June 2023. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
And renal patients have raised concerns over delays in accessing care under the Social Health Authority (SHA), citing lengthy paperwork and administrative procedures. Speaking during the Health Summit Town Hall, Dr. Gikonyo, a renal patient, also called for establishment of a renal patient registry to give patients a platform to raise their concerns and support better health planning. Suzanne Locho reports.
For renal patients, accessing treatment can be a matter of life and death. During the presidential town hall, Dr. John Gikonyo, who once had a kidney transplant, raised concerns that the SHA system, lengthy paperwork and delays sometimes leave renal patients facing challenges, with some even forced to return home without receiving treatment.
When it comes to SHA, I have to go with 6 documents, which I have to submit, then they have to be scanned, and even the physical part of doing that and taking them through all this takes a lot of time. Sometimes the system hangs. We would like the SHA system and the DHS system to be streamlined so that we can also go as smoothly as the rest of the things. And sometimes we are forced to go home without drugs because the system hanged.
The challenges continue even after admission. While international practices recommend about 3 dialysis sessions for patients on maintenance dialysis, SHA covers only 1 dialysis session for admitted patients, yet at that stage, they may require 2 or 3.
And I'm talking about now a patient who is getting 1 session because they have been admitted. So they will even get more sick because if they are not able to pay for the extra one while they are in hospital, then they will not get well very soon.
For patients with acute kidney injury, timely dialysis can be critical. About 80% of cases can be reversed when identified and treated early. He insists that 1 dialysis session, however, may not be enough, with limited access potentially affecting both recovery and the quality of life.
But now when we only allow 1 dialysis session for this patient, because they are any patient, what we are doing, I'm imagining the reason we are doing this is so that we save some money. But what we end up doing, and this is very sad, is that we are saving 50 or 60,000 at the risk now of sending this patient to full-time dialysis.
The call is now for a renal patient registry, as well as greater involvement of the people living with non-communicable diseases in future census exercises.
It is necessary. The reasoning given by Mr. Gikonyo there is to be able to effectively provide interventions, we must have a good body of data. Numbers are important.
President Ruto, however, says that the government is coming up with a registry for the people with renal disorders, since there can be no intervention without data. Susan Locho for TV47, Nairobi.
Now, the push for affordable housing, I should say, in Kenya is taking a collaborative turn, with stakeholders calling for stronger partnerships between government, financiers, developers and investors at the 5th Kenya Affordable Housing Conference in Naivasha. Leaders said improved access to financing and practical housing solutions will be critical in ensuring that more Kenyans can benefit from the government's housing agenda. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njero with data details.
Let's come back, take you. I can see
the 5th Affordable Housing Conference in Naivasha, stakeholders called on a more coordinated approach to the implementation of Kenya's affordable housing agenda, factored by collaboration between government, financial institutions, developers, investors to ensure housing ambitions translate into homes that ordinary Kenyans can afford.
We already know the problems. We have discussed majority of the problems in the past, particularly in the last 4 conferences that we have held. But now the key point that we are passing today is about scaling. So we want to scale, number one, the demand side of housing, that is providing what we call end user finance, the ability for people to buy homes.
Stakeholders say access to finance remains one of the biggest barriers facing many Kenyans, calling for financing models that are not only flexible but practical and accessible to all income groups.
How do we bring this cost lower so that affordable is actually affordable in the context of the income of the Kenyan community? I think the good thing about how primary lenders come through is that they connect both the demand side and the supply side.
The leaders argue that achieving Kenya's housing target cannot be the responsibility of the government alone, identifying 4 pathways that include citizen participation and renewed commitment to action by all stakeholders.
This is the right time now to create such instruments, warehousing facilities, with the collaboration with KMRC, the banks and the SACCOs, and Shelter Africa Development Bank will be very keen to push this agenda, because today we have supply, we have the demand side that's also catered for.
They say these measures could unlock more investment, expand access to housing finance, and create a more inclusive housing ecosystem.
Our partnership with government institutions has seen us also take a lead in terms of offering loans to Kenyans under the rent-to-own model.
We expect that through KMRC and the partners like Shelter Africa, all the population of Kenya, anybody within the confines of the Republic is able to get adequate and dignified housing within the economic space.
For TV47, I'm Willie Dennis Njero.
Right, time has ticked up for a short break. But I'll be remiss if I don't show you what is, of course, on tomorrow's publication of A Star, fresh off the press. This is the headline: ICC alarm bells sound again as Kenya heads to 2027 elections. That is what we have there as a splash. The story is well fleshed out for you on page 2 of the publication. Opposition rights groups turn to The Hague amid rising violence is what the flagger is reading there. Also still there, we have Kalonzo and Gachagua are retreating to hammer out power deal. And you can see this standalone picture here, budding partnership. DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua and Wiper boss Kalonzo Musyoka. The story is on page 6 of the publication. On the sidebar, we have 59% of Nairobi residents are opposed to taxi minimum fare. It says a new survey by TIFA Research has found that a majority of Nairobi residents oppose the government's proposed minimum fare policy for ride-hailing services. You can read the rest of the details on page 2 of the publication. Now, El Niño could hit Kenya early as flood risks rises. El Niño rains could begin as early as October in parts of Kenya, with the country expected to receive unusually heavy rainfall through December. According to a new regional climate forecast, you have the story also covered for you on page 11 of the publication. Looking up there at the teaser, you have Siasa pullout that comes in handy every Friday for you inside the Star. Here's why violence, intimidation will not deliver Luo Nyanza. And that story is tucked away on page 4 of the publication. Also, pilot Outram. His story, life defined by flying and wild places. That is what we have there. Also, we have the editorial cartoon there, and it's all about Goonism. And you can see the way now this particular, of course, python is trying to be trampled on by every manner of security officers, including also the Minister of Interior. And you can see the unflappable fools. That is the unflappable smile of the president as well on that editorial cartoon. We take a short break. When we circle back, we continue with more. Don't go away. You're watching TV47 Prime.
love to share our cultures, and the one thing that unites us all, that celebrates precious moments, nurtures our Kenyan spirit, welcomes, and even inspires. Our language does all of this and more. The more the milk, the better the chai. Chai kweli ina Brookside Dairy Best.
Kote nchini mbele tuendelee.
Kenya, twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
Mimi nasema ugali ya Lea haikuwangi complicated. Ukienda kwa duka tu, ukienda kwa super tu, kwa afya bora ya jamii ungapoa ni Lea tu.
Guys, hamwezeni wait?
Bei ya Lea Premium, si complicated. Kupika Lea Premium, si complicated. Unabai, unapika, unashiba. Lea Premium.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Skia, ni juicy. Flavor zote tamu tena fruity. Yummy na flow kama maji, juu ni tamu kama sali. Ni juicy. Are you bored? Kuna vitu zinakuudhi, usijali my bro, hebu kama taka juicy juni.
Did you know you deserve to earn royalties every time your art?
Welcome back. National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah has dismissed PLP leader Martha Karua. Martha Karua's called for the International Criminal Court to investigate alleged political violence in Kenya. Speaking in Kikuyu during the launch of the Kiambu County Digital Center of Excellence, Ichung'wah accused some opposition leaders of planning violence before blaming the government for the unrest. He also insisted that Kenya's multi-party system gives politicians the freedom to join or form parties of their own. Former Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria insisted on the need of Mount Kenya leaders uniting ahead of the 2027 polls.
And I want to tell our brothers and our sisters in the opposition, I want to join them in welcoming ICC to come and investigate that matter of goonism. Because you are planning goonism, then you point fingers at others. Ni nchi ya vyama mingi. Si Kenya ni nchi ya vyama mingi? Na kila mtu ako na uhuru wa kujiunga na kila chama anataka. Kwa hivyo tusiwe na wengine wanataka kutumia fujo na vitisho kutisha wengine ati wasijiunge na vyama fulani ama vyama zingine.
Viongozi wa Kiambu tutafanya kazi pamoja. Kukuja kwangu hapa leo ni dhihirisho ya kwamba sisi viongozi wa Kiambu tutakaa pamoja, wengine wakae na zao, ni haki yao. Watu wa Kisumu watafanya vile vile, watu wa Kakamega watafanya vile vile. Ni wakati wa mtu kulinda ngome yake, na sisi tunataka kulinda ngome yetu. Hata Mheshimiwa Ruku ni haki yake walinde ngome.
Now, the Ministry of Water and Irrigation is proposing a project to address the rising water levels in Lakes Baringo and Bogoria, which have disrupted the lives of residents, submerging homes, farms, roads and schools, and even threatening to merge the two lakes. The government plans to construct channels to drain excess water from Lakes Baringo and Bogoria into Lake Turkana, as well as a barrier to prevent the waters of the two lakes from mixing. However, affected residents are demanding compensation before the project begins. Mark Chalo has more.
For close to 13 years since water levels in Lakes Baringo and Bogoria began rising, hundreds of residents have been forced to abandon their homes, while schools, roads, hospitals and other infrastructure have also been swept away by the rising waters. However, the government plans to excavate canals 3 meters deep and 8 meters wide to carry excess water from Lakes Baringo and Bogoria. The water is expected to flow through Nginyang River, then Suguta Valley, before eventually draining into Lake Turkana.
Watatengeneza kitu inaitwa canal. Hayo maji yataelekezwa kwa mto Kokole. Alafu itaenda ishikane na mto Nginyang. Alafu hayo maji yaende mpaka Tiati kuelekea Turkana.
The canals are also expected to support irrigation farming, providing a potential source of water for agricultural activities among the locals.
Ongezeko limekuwa likiongezeka na ile tahadhari ambayo tunachukua sasa hivi ni kwa sababu ya mvua ambayo inatarajiwa ya El Nino, lakini mbinu moja ambayo inataka kufungua yote ni kusaidia kuweka zile canals za maji za kusaidia kufanya kilimo upande mwingine.
A major barrier will also be constructed between Lake Baringo, which contains fresh water, and Lake Bogoria, which is saline, to prevent the waters of the two lakes from mixing.
These are ongoing studies. Watu wengi wanafanya studies tofauti kuendelea kuelewa nini inafanyika hapa.
The rising water levels had raised concerns that the two lakes could eventually merge, potentially affecting aquatic life and the wider ecosystem.
Maybe kuna opportunity kubwa sana yenye tukikaa pamoja tunaweza kuona kwa pamoja. So kwa kuongea ndio tutaweza kufikiana hapo na kusema kweli imeongezeka, hasara ni hii.
During a public participation exercise, residents expressed concern over the proposed diversion of the lake waters, questioning why the resource should benefit residents of other counties when Baringo as itself suffered prolonged periods of droughts.
Hii lake tena ikienda mpaka mkidrain mpaka 500 meters into the lake, sisi wenye tunaendesha boat hatutapata kazi tena hapa. Boat itabaki nje.
The residents also opposed the implementation of the project before those affected by the rising water levels in Lake Baringo and Bogoria are fully compensated.
Mambo ya kuchimba lake iende huko, waende Bogoria kujenga ukuta if they have a lot of money to spend. If they have a lot of money to spend the money to make a wall.
Mike Cello, TV47.
Now, the National Lottery Board has commenced the process of procuring Kenya's first national lottery operator with the appointment of a transaction advisor to guide the process. The National Lottery Board, led by Chairperson Dr. Faride Karone, has appointed a consortium led by RSM East African in partnership with Sweden-based QLOT Consulting, which will oversee the process from transaction structuring and procurement to operator onboarding and launch readiness. The consortium emerged as the highest-ranked and the most responsive bidder after undergoing preliminary technical and financial evaluation by an appointed evaluation committee. The eventual national lottery operator will be licensed and supervised within Kenya's existing national regulatory framework, and once operational, proceeds from the lottery. After payment of prizes and operating costs will be channeled into National Lottery Fund. By law, the funds will be dedicated to public benefit programs, including charitable and humanitarian initiatives, economic empowerment, health, and education.
As interest in the National Lottery continues to grow, I'm often asked how our work relates to the wider regulation of gaming in Kenya. And let me set it out plainly. The National Lottery Board is established under the National Lottery Act of 2023 with one dedicated purpose: to establish, oversee, safeguard Kenya's national lottery, to procure and to contract the national lottery operator, and to administer the National Lottery Fund, through which proceeds reach good causes. We are the custodians of the National Lottery on behalf of the people of Kenya.
It is important to emphasize that our role is advisory.
We provide analysis, options, recommendations, and technical expertise. Decisions remains firmly with the National Lottery Board. Our responsibility is to equip the board with information and advice required to make informed decisions at each stage of the process.
Now, the International Leadership University has appointed former Makueni Governor Professor Kifota Kibwana as its third Chancellor. The university is also seeking to obtain its official registration charter after meeting the required standards set by the Ministry of Education. The appointment was made at the university's Kitengela campus. Education CS Julius Ogamba congratulated Professor Kibwana on his appointment, describing him as a leader with the experience and ability to steer the institution towards achieving its goals. He also challenged Kibwana to ensure the university provides quality education that meets international standards and prepares students for the competitive labor market. The university's management has also been urged to review and improve its academic programs to ensure they respond to the changing needs of the labor market.
As we install the new Chancellor today, we are reminded of Kenya's deeper need. Leaders who combine competence with integrity. Leaders who understand that true leadership is service and not privilege. Institutions of higher learning carry a sacred responsibility to model accountability, transparency, excellence, responsible stewardship, and respect for the rule of law.
We are struggling with a values deficit in all our endeavors, in all our sectors, including that of leadership. To be part of the struggle, so the intention that I thought I could take on is to be part of the struggle to reimagine moral and ethical values in our society, and more so among our youth.
Mr. Chancellor, sir, I want to assure you of my personal support and that of the Board of Trustees and all the other ILU governance organs as you take over this critical institutional mandate.
The Scouts, that is the Kenya Scouts Association, has demanded full disclosure of the proposed 2 billion shillings scouting project, calling on President William Ruto to intervene in the matter. KSA says it is not opposed to the proposed training center, campsites or leadership academies, but wants the project pursued openly and transparently. The association is questioning who will benefit from the project, who will own the facility, and why KSA is not at the center of the development. KSA says the president, who is the patron of the scouting movement in Kenya, should intervene and demand full disclosure of the project, including its funding, ownership, and implementation.
We want greater investments in Kenyan's youth program, but such kind of development must be pursued lawfully, transparently, and in partnership with the legitimate national institution responsible for scouting in Kenya. Scouting belongs first and foremost to the young people who wear the Scouts uniform, serve their communities, and live its values. Before any shilling is raised, any acre is acquired, or any foundation stone is laid, we are asking, who is the beneficiary of this 2 billion project? This is a scandal. If the answer is scouting in Kenya, then why is Kenya Scout Association not at the center of the project? We are meeting the patron, and one of the items that will be placed before the patron is the perennial interference of HUSPU with scouting activities in Kenya. And the president must also demand for the full disclosure of this 2 billion project that is purported to be done in favor of scouting activities.
Time for business. where a proposed minimum fare for ride-hailing services is exposing a growing tension between drivers and their customers. Drivers want better earnings and rising fuel and operating costs, but passengers say they simply cannot absorb another increase in transport costs. Faith Wagare reports.
For ride-hailing drivers, the argument is simple. Earnings need to go up or few of them stay on the road. The sector supports hundreds of thousands of drivers and more than half rely on it as a main source of income. But rising fuel and vehicle costs alongside platform commissions are eating into what they take home.
Zile enzi ambazo mimi nilianza kufanya kazi ya taksi, miaka 10 imepita. Unakuta bei venye tulikuwa tunaipisha saa hiyo inaendelea kureduce. So you can imagine maisha venye imepanda kutoka miaka kama 15 yenye imepita, sasa bei imeshuka chini kama half.
Haisaidii sasa hasa sisi, inasaidia kampuni yenyewe peke yake. Hata wakipunguza pande ya kampuni, watuongezee pande yetu, itakuwa imetusaidia sana.
A survey by TIFA shows 81% of Nairobi respondents are either facing rising living costs or working with constrained incomes. For them, a higher fare isn't a minor inconvenience. It's a decision about how they get to work at all.
It's quite unfair, especially considering the amount and the cost of living, the way it is to us as a country. It is quite expensive. Kenyans are really going through a tough economic time, so increasing these charges will discourage even the regular users like me from continuing to use them.
That resistance shows up clearly in the numbers. 59% of ride-hailing users oppose the proposed minimum fare against 39% in support. The leading concern is affordability. Passengers worried the better pay for drivers ultimately means a bigger bill for them.
To them, maybe it's also they're feeling the cost of fuel, but they should also think of us as the users. Sisi kama the passengers, they should think of us, because when you increase it, you are making it very hard. I know even many of my friends who've opted lately to use matatus.
Consumers also shared clear preferences on who should be setting the price. 63% want fares decided by competition between ride-hailing companies. Only 33% want government regulating it. And perhaps the sharpest warning for ride-hailing companies is what happens if fares actually go up. 44% of users say they'd simply use matatus more. 11% would use ride-hailing less. Another 11% would switch to cheaper ride-hailing options, leaving just 18% who say they'd carry on as usual. The question now isn't whether drivers deserve more, it's who ends up paying for it. Faith Wangari, TV47.
Diamond Trust Bank Group has posted a 37% increase in half-year pre-tax profit to 9.8 billion shillings for the 6 months ended June 2026. The lender attributed the growth to a 21% rise in revenue, with the net interest income increasing 26%. Customer deposits rose 11% to 534 billion shillings, while loans and advances grew 14% to 326 billion shillings. The group's customer base increased 44%. Equity Bank Kenya and Proto Energy have signed a partnership to provide financing for customers seeking to adopt liquefied petroleum gas, that is LPG. The agreement introduces two financing products, an autogas conversion loan and an institutional LPG conversion loan. The initiative targets the upfront cost associated with LPG infrastructure, equipment and vehicle conversion services. The two companies signed the agreement in Nairobi, with the products targeting individual motorists and institutions seeking to transition to LPG.
Constitution that we are looking here for our those in the transport business or those with vehicles is that we'll give you a cheaper energy source but it actually has more calorific value than the current energy source that our consumers are looking at. And that then talks to sustainability. Not just sustainability to the pocket, but also sustainability around how we are exploiting our natural resources.
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has called for increased investment in irrigation to reduce Kenya's reliance on rainfall and improve food security. Kagwe spoke in Kilifi County while launching the 79 million shillings rehabilitation of the Ndigira water pan in BAMBA. The project, established in 1963, will support a 50-acre smallholder irrigation scheme and benefit more than 100 farmers. The rehabilitation includes the silting, water distribution infrastructure, solar system, and irrigation equipment.
Yetu kuu ya serikali, iwe serikali ya Kilifi au ni serikali kuu, kazi yetu ile muhimu ni kuinua maisha ya mwananchi wa Kenya. Kila pahali katika Kenya, kila area katika Kenya, ni lazima mwananchi ajue analindwa na serikali yake. Ni lazima mwananchi anajua macho ya serikali iko na yeye, na ni lazima mwananchi ajue ya kwamba serikali hii ambayo sisi tunafanyia kazi imeamua ya kwamba kila mtu asaidike na afanye vile yeye mwenyewe anaweza kufanya, ajitegemee. Kwa sababu jameni, watu wanaendelea kuwa wengi. Idadi ya watu inaendelea kuwa nyingi ya juu, lakini mashamba tumeona ya kwamba tukiendelea vile tulivyo bila maji, bila irrigation, ni kusema ya kwamba we will not be able to feed the population of Kenya.
The Food Show 2026 has kicked off in Nairobi today, the premier Pan-African business-to-business platform dedicated to advancing Africa's agricultural and food industries. The forum brought together producers, processors, traders, retailers, investors, policymakers, regulators, researchers, financial institutions, development partners, private sector leaders, innovators, international buyers, and community representatives from across the continent and beyond. The event serves as a strategic platform for innovation, networking, investment, and trade across the entire agri-food value chain. In its fourth edition, AFS 2026 aligns with Kenya's Vision 2030 and the African Union Agenda 2063.
With countries over the years, and of late the focus is very much on supporting agri-food systems transformation. So that recognition that, we are not just looking at one part of a long chain of things that must happen, but we look from production, and therefore the theme from seed to plate, we are looking from the farm level through all the steps in between up to until the food reaches our plates. So this is work that FAO has been working hand in glove, not only in Kenya, but across the globe, in Africa in particular, because I think for Africa, the opportunities are immense for agri-food systems to be transformed. And also we do admittedly have significant challenges still to overcome in terms of making our food systems more resilient and more sustainable, but also beneficial for the people across the board.
We're looking at the issues of food safety, and I think what is coming up from the conference is that the food safety is the responsibility of each and every person, from the farmer, from the researcher, from the private sector, because a healthy nation, it is the responsibility of all of us. And therefore, the participants, the stakeholders here, are discussing how better can we be able to increase access of that safety food in the table.
All right, time for sports now, where three-time football Kenya Women Premier League champions Kenya Police Bullets are oozing with confidence ahead of the 2026 CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers in Kigali, Rwanda. Police Bullets contingent consisting of 26 players and 8 officials have left Nairobi for Kigali on, and they will, of course, have a clear target, that is, of winning the Sekafa title, having missed it narrowly in 2024 and 2025. Bullets will begin its search for regional glory against Simba on Monday, with the matches set to kick off on 21st August to 31st August 2026. The winners of the competition will represent the Sekafa region in the 2026 CAF Women's Champions League.
Maandalizi yamekuwa mazuri. Tumesajili wachezaji wazuri. Ndio tumekuwa na muda kidogo sana ya kufanya maandalizi sababu ya WAFCON. But ila tuna matumaini tutapoenda tarudi kama tuna kitu. Group ni ngumu, tunaheshimu Simba, tunaheshimu Top Girls, lakini tunakupambana. I think this is the time and I feel we are ready. Tuende na turudi na kitu.
It's all systems go for the Nairobi West FKF Gala that will be held on Friday, the 21st of August at the Nairobi Winners' Chapel. According to the FKF Nairobi West chairman, Bernard Modi, all top team, that is the teams and players, will be featured at the events as they usher in the new football season. Ahead of the gala, all teams participating in various tier league received a major boost as they were kitted 3 pairs of jerseys by the Abbas Foundation, with over 60 teams drawn from different wards in Nairobi, also benefiting from clearance of all their registration fees and necessary documentation.
Preparations are in top gear. We just finished the last season. We are just rolling the new dates for the new season, and then from there now we start preps for the next season, which is 2026, 2027. All has been well. The teams are ready, and we are looking forward to bigger and better 2026, 2027 season.
Na main aim ya kupeana jersey ni at least kusaidia team kwa facilitate wa kuena kits. Tumepeana home and away kits. Alafu pia we are planning kuwalipia the charges ya FKF tournament. As you know, the season inaanza soon, so hataki team ya Lang'ata ikuwe left out because of the financial issues.
Nairobi City Thunder maintained their unbeaten run in the Kenya Basketball Federation League after securing a commanding 90-50 victory over Umoja Basketball at the Nyayo National Stadium. The City Thunder took control from the opening quarter, leading 22-16, before producing a dominant second quarter in which they limited Umoja to just 4 points to take a 40-20 lead into halftime. They continued to pull away after the break, scoring 26 points in the third quarter and 24 in the fourth to seal a 40-point victory. Derek Ongechi and Tyler Ongwae led the scoring for City Thunder with 16 points each, while Garang Ding added 15. Thunder now have 2 regular season games remaining this weekend as they target a perfect finish, I should say, for a third consecutive season. They face Strathmore Blades on Friday, August the 21st, before taking on Eldonet on Sunday, August the 23rd at 8 p.m. Both matches being played at Nyayo Stadium.
Everybody playing together, playing hard, Thunder brand of basketball. That's what the fans are expecting from us, expecting going forward. As we get ready for the playoffs, we only have 2 games left. As we all know, it's about to be our 3rd season undefeated. I have no doubts about that.
Kenyan marathon legend Eliud Kipchoge has thrown his support behind the Raise for Mobility campaign, urging Kenyans to back efforts to raise funds to provide pediatric wheelchairs for children living with disabilities. The campaign, spearheaded by Michael Panther, founder of Hope Mobility Kenya, seeks to raise the funds by participating in the 2026 Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon, slated for October the 25th. Through his lived experience as a person living with disabilities, Panther will take part in the 42 kilometers race, becoming the first person with disability to participate in the category of the acclaimed Nairobi Marathon.
Give support to my brother Michael.
on his journey to run at the Standard Chartered Marathon and raise funds actually to give more mobility to more children and adults actually in this country. It all belongs to all of us. Nobody actually is owning the world. Nobody has a title for this world. We are all owning it. So children and with disability or without disability, sport as a huge platform for everybody. And my call to Kenyans actually is to support Michael in all means. To pay 1,000 shillings per kilometer, or actually to contribute 50,000 per wheelchair, and above all actually is to help in life. We say if you want to enjoy life, touch your vulnerable person or your person next to you. So I rally all Kenyans actually to tack on and visit Hope International and see what's going on there.
This year, I will be doing a 42-kilometer marathon here in Nairobi, the Standard Chartered Marathon. And this marathon will be a special one for me. The first thing is that I will be the first person in a wheelchair to be able to do this marathon. And the second is that I'm doing this to create awareness about disability here in the country.
All the best for them as well as a venture to that new territory. Well, that does it for now. Thank you for your valid company. And on behalf of Catherine Simaloi and the entire team, we say thank you for your valid company. Sleep easy.
Tamu kama sali ni juicy. Are you bored? Kuna vitu zinakuudhi, usijali my bro, ibu kama taka juicy juni.
Azam TV, your favorite pay TV, just got even better. Effective 1st March 2026, we have added 5 amazing new TV channels to keep you entertained day and night. AMC Movies and Nolly Africa for the best of Nollywood movies and series. Music Box Hits and Music Box Dance for non-stop music hits and dance. And Manchester United TV for football fans. More movies, more music, more sports. All in one place.